I can't remember for the life of me how to get to the airfield. Okay, so my X-plane actually just crashed. I have terrible eyesight. So everyone can probably see it except for me. And it doesn't actually appear that this airfield is in the game. I lost it already, not good. Or is that it right there? That might be it down there. Hey guys, Lone Hawk here, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are continuing the X-Plane 11 Air Hauler 2 series with part 2. Alright, so let's begin. Load up our company and we're going to go for our first cargo job. So to view your cargo jobs you have these three options. You have the overview map, the available jobs and the accepted jobs. So the overview map and the available jobs are where you can go to see all of the different jobs that are available. So we'll just click on available jobs and this gives you a list view of all the jobs that are available. And within that you can see the airport from, the airport to, the distance that you're going, what you're transporting, the quantity which is in pounds, so you need to check that that's not going to overload your aircraft, the fee that you'll get for doing it, and then when it expires. So as that is a big list and you sort of have to go through it and figure out which jobs do apply to you, you can just go the overview map, which from what I can tell seems to just put the jobs that are at the airfield that you are at. So we only have one job available out of Cutbank Airfield, and that is traveling east to Lincoln Field, which obviously is the wrong way because our field is in California down here and this is obviously in Montana and we want to travel sort of southwest. So going east definitely doesn't help us, but the fact that it is $3,500 and we're only traveling 77 nautical miles, it's probably too good of a job to pass up. So once you sort of gone through, found a job that you want, you hit accept job and just confirm that you can accept multiple jobs. When you are ready to fly a job, you go over to your accepted jobs and they will all appear here and you just click fly now. That will bring up the aircraft selection screen. So if you are at your base and you have multiple aircraft, you can put it on whichever aircraft you like. So since we only have one choice at the moment, I guess we're going with our Cessna. So this brings us to the cargo loading screen. So again, you have your aircraft and your airfield that you're at. This is the passenger section. So we're going to skip over that, and the cargo loading section. So these are all the different cargoes that are available for you to load. So if you do have multiple jobs accepted, you will have multiple cargoes there. So that's the building materials that we want to load. So we will just load that onto the aircraft. And down here is some details about the aircraft weight and its cargo capacity. Now the main one that you want to focus on is the available capacity. At the moment it does say we only have 243 pounds and the aircraft can actually hold 599. But you can change that by unloading fuel, which can give you a bit more room for cargo. So all of the fuel is handled down here in this bottom section. As we're not currently full of fuel, you can see that we only have 237 pounds out of 350. We would just slide that all the way across and that would fill the aircraft up. And as you can see, that has actually dropped our available cargo capacity as well. And it gives you the cost of the fuel there. And it's just telling you the amount to load is 113 pounds. Then gives you the estimated range with that fuel loaded on the aircraft and then the total fuel on the aircraft and then the distance to where you're going. So you can figure out if you are going to make it. We don't need that extra fuel. We want to try to keep the aircraft as light as possible so we're not burning excess fuel, so we're going to leave it like that. Once you've got this all set up, you just click OK and that will bring up your create a flight plan screen. Obviously this didn't come up in the type rating as we didn't need to create a flight plan because we weren't really going anywhere. The first thing you'll see is your departure airport, which should be automatically entered in for the job. If it's not, you can click find and find the required airport. Next you come down to where your aircraft is actually going to start at that airfield. So we want to go last position and that will start the aircraft exactly where we turned it off from the last job, or you could select a gate and then pick where you start at the actual airfield. Next we come over to the date and time. Not going to bother touching the date, but the time is in UTC time. I can't remember what that stands for. I'm pretty sure that's like the Central Standard Time, so where it is in England. So you need to convert that to where you are, because if you were to start, for example, at 10:53 from where we are, so that would be around 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning if I've done my calculations correct. We don't really want to start that early. So you can go into X-Plane and it'll actually tell you the UTC time with the current local time when you're setting up a flight, which is where you can sort of get your base figures from, or you can just jump on Google and search that. So we're going to start at around 8 o'clock. Should be about 1400. About 200. 32 seconds, I'm not too fussed with, and we'll change that to PM. So just remember, it should be 8 o'clock-ish. If not, I have done my calculations wrong. Next, we are going to set the airport that we're going to, which is 5U9, Lincoln's Field, and the type of flight that we're going to go. So we're just going to go VFR as it's not that far away. Now we're going to leave the cruising altitude at 8,000 feet, as I've just gone on skyvector.com to check the actual elevation of Cutbank Airfield, and it is 3,800. So that will give us approximately about 4,200 feet off the ground, which is a nice low sort of flight so we can sort of see the terrain and stuff, and we're not going too fast, so there's no point getting too high. Now with the weather, as I mentioned in the last video, to actually change that, you can't do that through here, so you have to do that within the game. Go accept route and fly. X-Plane. Alright, now we're in X-Plane. We just always want to remember, because we got Airhauler 2 to launch X-Plane, we have to go resume last flight. Alright, so now we're in X-Plane, and as you can see, we are exactly where we left off on that airfield, so we'll get the aircraft started. So you just want to remove the yoke, turn your battery on, turn your beacon light on, which is one of these buttons. There we go, and then we want to turn the mixture all the way to rich, and then we can turn the key and start the aircraft. Alright, now she's started. We can turn our alternator on, turn on the rest of our lights, and turn on the avionics. Okay, so now we just want to change the weather, so we'll go up here to the airplane. And as you can see, I think I said it was going to be 8 o'clock. It's actually 7, so I was an hour out. But that's probably because of what I had worked out was for California, and we're slightly east of that. So obviously there's probably a slight change in time zones, but that's nothing to worry about. So we'll go over to customize the weather. It does say that it is matching it, but we will just go back to manually configure and match real world weather just to be sure. Yep, so that's all set. We'll apply changes. Looks like there's a few more clouds in the sky. And then as you can see, that's not the airport that we're at. So to select that airfield, you push here and that will highlight it. And then you have two dials here, an inner and an outer. So we'll call this the inner, the bigger one, and the outer one is the smaller one. So to change those letters, you need to move the outer one. So we'll just mouse wheel on that, and that's put the K, which we want first. And then we want to change this to a C. Well, probably should have gone the other way. Oop, too far. And then we want to go to the next letter by moving this bigger one at the back, and that needs to be a T. And yep, it's already got the airfield. So it has put the B in there, but that would have been the next thing. So we just hit enter and accept. That has now moved that up to the top. So that airfield hasn't actually cleared. So to get rid of it, we go clear, and it will ask us, do we wish to remove that waypoint? And we will go yes, so enter. And now there's nothing there. So our next waypoint, which is our actual destination, again, we move this outer wheel, and we want to go to 5. Scroll down to 5, and then move across one and change that to a U. And one more and change that to a 9. Nothing has come up. And it doesn't actually appear that this airfield is in the game. Okay, that's gonna be interesting. Not sure how that's going to work, but yeah, we will see how we go. But that's what you would have done. You would have pushed enter, and then it would have taken you back to the flight plan screen. You would have seen them both there, and then when you push back on flight plan to go to the nav screen, you would have seen a pink line heading out in the direction that we need to fly. So I do know that we need to go east, so we're probably going to fly 080, as it was slightly north of dead east. So we will just zoom out and we will get rolling. hopefully this goes well. I'm a bit concerned, but yeah, we should be alright. Taxi out onto the airfield, onto the runway, sorry. I'm hoping as we start to go forward, it might pop up on our... It might pop up on the GPS. I do know it's 77 nautical miles, so we can always use the distance from our current location to figure that out. Once we sort of get to about 70, we know we're going to be pretty much on the airfield. It does sort of worry you a little bit when the airfield that you're going to isn't actually in the game. I can't remember for the life of me how to get to the airfield. I reckon we'll go this way, because why not? Okay, before, we'll say goodbye to Cutbank. Hopefully we don't come back here. Maybe one day, as we sort of get a bit bigger. Yeah, not anytime soon. We need to start getting to California. I'm not too sure the distance. I know when it showed me how far the 500 nautical range was, it was maybe a little bit past halfway, about 60-70%. So I want to say it's maybe 800-900. Yeah, what does this say to the runway? So we want to turn left to go to 23. Cool, that looks like this is the very end of the runway here anyway. So we will turn onto the runway. Start to speed up. Now, on the clock here, doesn't actually show the correct time. That's actually showing 14:10, which would be the UTC time, which is kind of annoying. It would be nice if it showed local, seeing as that's where I'm flying. But yeah, there's not much I can do. It is 7 o'clock, as you notice, so that is good. It did work. Yeah. So we want to get up. We're going to 8,000 feet, and as you can see, we're almost at 4,000. So this is a rather high airfield. And I'm just going to start our bank to the right. Hopefully it does show up on the GPS. Could be very, very lost. So that's just a message from Airfield 2 saying that, yep, we're en route. Good. The airfield. He's bigger than I thought. He's definitely much bigger. Right, we'll come a bit more to the right. Could use Autopilot. I might turn it on for part of this flight, especially when I probably go through the process of trying to find out if I am going in the right direction. Yeah, but it hasn't changed our waypoint, which is good. So you can see we're up here is the distance. So we're 1.1 nautical miles from the waypoint that we entered, which was that airfield. So once we sort of get close to the 70 mark, like I said, we'll definitely know we're close. Hopefully, if we haven't flown too far. Being that it is a smaller airfield, and when I had a quick look, there was a few airfields. It would be nice if it was that pink one there. I'm not going to hold my breath, as I don't think it is, especially since it probably would have came up. So I'm not sure what we're going to do. I might have to pause it and say jump back on Sky Vector and sort of find out what is around this airfield. Yeah. Hopefully it's not like just a helipad. I don't believe it was. I'm pretty sure it was an actual airfield. Hopefully it wouldn't have let us select a helipad for a plane, because that would pose a real problem. So while we're sort of just going up, show you a few more things with this. So you can zoom in and out. I'll just pause my track IR so it doesn't move all over the place. You can actually zoom out is the down, which is a bit odd. And then in is up. Yeah. Whoa. I can sort of see what the plane's doing out of there at the top of the screen. I don't know why it's going all crazy like that. Not knowing. Oh, so that's 5. Oh no, my bad. I was going the wrong way. So up is out. That's 100, so in theory it should be on our screen. Which it's not. So, yeah. Oh, good. We'll leave that sort of there, just see if something does come up. Let's get this plane flying on the correct heading. Let's see if there is a way to change this time. Local, yes, you can actually change it. I did not know that. So it's 7:14. That is very nice. I have no idea what FT is. I have no idea what ET is. Maybe some sort of timer. 24E, I have that. Is that volts? So that's 52 Fahrenheit, 12 degrees Celsius. And let's go E. Surely that's volts. E, I gotta remember my electricity lessons that I've learnt. Pretty sure E is one of the symbols for it. Very nice. I do like sort of how you can see the sun in certain areas that's been hidden from the clouds in others. It's quite nice. Let me just go back to Sky Vector. Hope, actually, what I might do is I'm going to leave this there and I'm going to turn on Autopilot. So to turn Autopilot on, you use the compass here and that orange symbol at the top you control with this right dial. As you can see, it is moving. We'll get it pretty much to 80, and then what you would do is turn on the heading down here and that will activate the Autopilot heading. Usually I do just use my SATEC panels. That should have turned it on. It may not have because my panels haven't lit up like they normally do. So I'm just going to turn... Okay, so my X-plane actually just crashed. So I've basically just taken off again, flown to about 4 nautical miles out from Cutbank, and I'm continuing the flight. Between that, I did have a quick look as to whether I could enter custom GPS coordinates into the navigation system, and it doesn't appear that you can. So that's a bit of a problem. It is really hard to find this place on a map, so the best way that I can tell for us to find it is using the in-game map, which we're going to do by going to this drop pin, and that's us in our aircraft. From what I can tell using Air Hauler 2, it is right about where this 12MT is, so I'm thinking that might actually be the airfield, because when we do zoom in, there is an airfield right there, and that is sort of in line with this river here, and that's pretty much where I could tell it is on a map. So yeah, let's hope that's it. With Air Hauler 2, in terms of it crashing, I believe it's sorry, with X-plane crashing, I believe that's done that because of I'm running the latest X-plane 11.5 beta 13, which is unstable at the moment. So a lot of people have problems with it. I probably shouldn't have updated to it, but I did. Not much I can do now. I probably could go back, but I feel it'd be too much of a headache. So with that and Air Hauler 2, basically all I did was just close out of X-plane 11, left Air Hauler 2 on the little map that has the traffic lights. It just went red. I left it in red. Started up X-plane 11 again and just went resume last flight, and it put me back at the airfield. I wasn't quite in the same position. I had moved a little bit, but not too much. I'm still on the taxiway near the ramp. And yeah, I just continued and took off as if nothing happened. You could have, I have in the past, shut Air Hauler 2, but then the game, if you start something, you sort of mess that up, so you're better off just leaving it alone and just starting X-plane 11 again, and yeah, Air Hauler 2 just keeps working, doesn't have any issue. So yeah, so now we're flying along, so we're just slowly getting up to our 8,000 feet. It is a very nice day, not many clouds. I did also notice that it seemed to be doing the match real world weather automatically, so you might not have to actually do that. That might have been because when I started X-Plane 11 this time, I had slightly moved, so maybe that had triggered something. But yeah, I'll find out in the next flight if you actually have to, or if it is staying on match real world weather, because that was the last setting I used. But that could be interesting. It means you just always get the real world weather, which would be nice. Yeah, I am quite disappointed that within the GPS system you can't manually enter coordinates. Obviously you do get all the coordinates for the airfields when you select them, it shows them, but you can't change it. So, because obviously I went on SkyVector, found its actual GPS coordinates, and yeah, it would be nice if you could enter them. So I'm just using the map in-game and the map that sort of comes with Airhauler 2. In the like interconnector screen where you get the green lights, the traffic lights to link the two programs, and we'll just see how we go. I'm also going to be using the distance, so obviously we are at 10 nautical miles, so we've still got quite a bit to go, but yeah, we will get there. Just going to keep going until we level out at about 8,000. Show you how to do that with the navigation system. So, sorry, the autopilot system. So at the moment we have got heading hold on, which again I just used the orange marker there and adjusted it with this to get us on a bearing of 084. Then you push the heading hold and that will get it to hold that heading. So I'll just show you how to adjust your altitude. So you can do the altitude hold, or you can go the vertical speed. So if we click vertical speed, that'll put it on +4. So the aircraft is going to try to go up plus 400 feet per minute, which is a good sort of setting for now, as we've still got about 400 feet to go. So in theory, we should be there in about a minute. But all you do is basically just spin this dial up or down, and then when you're at the height you want, you just set it to 0 and it'll stop adjusting. But we will not zoom in, and we will leave it on 4 for now until we get up there. I believe I did say in the last video I wasn't going to skip the flights, but I'm thinking I might, because I'm not too sure if I can talk for the odd 60 nautical miles that is in between this. If something does come up and I want to sort of use it as a teaching thing, I will obviously unpause it. But yeah, most of the flight there's not a lot to sort of look at, so yeah, once we get up to our 8,000 feet we will skip the video. So we'll just drop it down to 200 now as we're almost there. We'll go to about 100 as it's pretty much there. If you sort of at about 100 or 200, as soon as you hit 0 it will just stop the plane from going up. It levels itself out pretty quickly. We will just change it now. So now we're pretty much just going to hold 8,000. We are at our cruising altitude, so apparently you should back off the mixture a little bit. And that actually allows you to see on here, the right side is your fuel flow, so as long as it's in the green, and the left side is your exhaust temperature, so that's gone up. Apparently that is sort of how you want it. You want them sort of near the middle. You don't want to have it on full mixture the whole time. That's apparently just a waste of fuel, because if you watch as I move the mixture, the right needle goes up, so obviously we're saving fuel, and you can back it all the way down. So you sort of just want to adjust that so you're not using too much fuel, but then you don't want to back it all the way out and start to burn the engine up. So go about there somewhere, and we'll probably try to fly as fast as we can to get there ASAP. I will actually zoom in to show you those gauges to make life a bit easier. So that's just your fuel flow there, so you sort of keep it in the green for the gallons per hour, and those are 25-degree increments. That's your fuel gauge, so that is in, I believe that's 260 pounds? No, gallons, it's measured in gallons. I don't know if that's times 100. Surely that's not 26 gallons in each one. Surely that's 260 gallons altogether, but I will check that and let you know. I do still have to learn obviously some of these gauges. Obviously that's your oil temp and pressure, your vacuum and your amps, I believe. Yeah. This is your engine speed. So obviously as we're flying pretty fast, we might even want to back that down, just get it off the red. So it is within the green, and that is just the hours of the plane. So this plane looks like it's about to tick over 21 hours. Or maybe that's 2 hours, I'm not sure. But obviously this was a second-hand plane, so that might be starting from me, I'm not too sure. These gauges on the right here have to do with your navigation and GPS. When we use them, I'll sort of explain them. I need to learn a little bit more with them too. So I don't sort of want to explain them and give the wrong details. If you are ever playing with ATC and I tell you to change your squawk, you do it on here. So at the moment we're on squawk of 4700. So to change that, you just say go 1, 2, 4, 5. And that will change your squawk. You don't need to enter anything, but it is on standby. So to turn it on, you push the on button, or you have standby or off. That's really only for IFR flights. I don't believe you need a squawk for a VFR. Alright, so I will go ahead and skip the video here until we get closer. Alright, so we're back. We're at 71 nautical miles away from Cutbank where we took off, so we should only be about 6 nautical miles out. Using the map, I'm sort of aiming for that it is going to be this 12 MP. I am really hoping so. But yeah, we're going to start to descend now, so we're just going to drop our vertical speed. We'll go to about, we'll go 500 for now, and we'll just back off on the throttle and get ready to start looking for the airfield. So it should be just off to our left a little, so we might actually change our heading, but it should be out around there somewhere. I have terrible eyesight, so everyone can probably see it except for me. That it. Definitely not it. Should be pretty close. What are we at now? We're almost on top of it. They're gonna slow down, I think. Start to descend. What's that there? Is that an airfield? Oop. I think we're gonna have to use the map to find our way there, and then just cross our fingers that we are. Okay, so we really actually need to change direction. We are nowhere near it. Out there, so slightly further that way. Oh, is that it down there? That might be it down there. I hope. Let's go with that. That's it. It's kind of in the right position. I mean, there's nothing else sort of here. Sort of, I'm going off of this river here. Sort of just back from there. And then as you can tell on here, that's sort of there, slightly above the deepest point, which is kind of where we are. If you sort of take a look at these two here, I'm going to say that's it, and that again matches up. Alright, so that's it down there, I hope. So we will probably really back off our speed. We'll probably start dropping quite a bit as we left our descent really late. We turn off heading as well. I might actually just turn off autopilot, fly this bit myself. But I reckon we'll keep going, then we will bank right, and then hopefully come around and land. It's gonna be interesting. This is the first time I've ever landed at an airfield that isn't really marked, so obviously it is a grass airfield, which makes sense. It's kind of in the right spot. Bit of a pain that Air Hauler has sort of set a job to that. We might sort of keep that in mind for next time and try to avoid these. Doesn't sort of show up in our GPS. I think it might be an airport worth skipping, especially since this brought us out in the wrong direction. It was good. I have no idea why they want building materials out here. I feel like a truck probably would have been better. It again. I lost it already. Not good. Or is that it right there? Oop. Is that it? Yep, it gets really hard to see once you get low down. I'm going to back the power off entirely. Might even swing out left a little. We sort of turned right way too quickly. Back around now. Hopefully we can lose some of this speed. I'm going to flap down one. But that will drop a lot of airspeed. The flaps also are just down here as well. I'm obviously using my SATAC panels, so I won't touch the flaps there. Really slow down. I might even get ready to deploy flaps too. Or full flaps. I don't think there is another level of flaps. We'll just find out. No. Get ready to add the power as we're going to stop descending so quickly soon. I guess it's that little house we're going to. It must be like a private runway or something.
500.
I feel like we won't be taking any goods out of here. I reckon the next flight we will be travelling somewhere. Which sucks. At least this $3.5 grand will pay for the fuel. I don't really think there's any place for us to sort of pull off from here either. We might actually have fuel.
100.
I don't think we want to fill up. We'll sort of use what we can
50,
in the fuel tanks.
30, 20, 10.
Landing was quite positive. I feel like the aircraft is really trying to lean forward. Our flaps up. What I'm going to do is just go to the... probably steer around to that house. That will give us a good indication of where the end of the runway is at least. Stuck in this ground. I think we might have done a bit of damage to our aircraft. Maybe that's where the damage has come from, because there's not a lot of hours on this aircraft. Maybe it's had a bit of an abusive owner. Doesn't matter. Picked her up for cheap. I'm just really hoping we can get another job out of here that at least heads in the right direction. I suppose even getting a job out of here would be nice. I'm not going to hold my breath. I can't see that happening. I feel like, is that fair for us to park these things? But no. We'll use them to park anyway. We'll just... one of them. Up here. We will apply the handbrake. Is that down? And we will turn off the alternator, turn off our avionics panel, turn off all the lights except for the beacon. We will cut our engine. Then we off, turn the last, wants us to alt tab back to air hauler, so we might just do that first. So let's go cargo, loading, unloading. Alright, so we will unload, job completed, click OK. Just finish the flight here. It took 43 minutes for us to fly there. We'll go back to X-plane. Quit X-plane. That will bring us back to here. In the middle of the ocean, sure. Like it's transferred us over there. Alright, well, I will go ahead and end the video here. So if you did enjoy it, please hit the like button. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And if you want to stay up to date with all my videos, please hit the bell notification. And until next time, thanks for watching.